How to negotiate a business lease? We're going to answer that question in this video. Okay, let's rock. Let's talk about negotiating a business lease and how you can do that. Okay, so I've got a lot of experience in the last few years. I'm in the game still right now. I've probably negotiated close to 20 leases in the last few years alone about renting different pieces of commercial real estate, whether it's freestanding buildings, office type spaces, commercial shopping centers, whatever it is. And I've started to learn quite a bit about the game. And so I want to share those fundamentals with you so that way if you're negotiating your first lease, you're going to feel very much at ease and a lot more comfortable when doing so. Because I can tell you this, the very first time I negotiated my very first lease, it was extremely uncomfortable. I had no idea whatsoever how to do it, what I was doing, what should I expect, what things I could negotiate really well and what I couldn't, right? Learning what the deal killers are, the deal breakers, the deal makers, those are huge in business, right? When you're negotiating with a landlord. And the landlord, from my perspective, is funny. The first time I was negotiating a lease, kind of felt like I was in a scene of the Wizard of Oz, where I'm like negotiating against Oz, because every single time I wanted to try to make a change to the lease or say I wanted to do something, the commercial real estate broker, the agent that was representing the landlord, would say, okay, let me go discuss this with the landlord. And it's like this whole concept of who's the landlord? Like, is it a person? Is it a group of people? Is it Darth Vader? Like, who is this freaking landlord that I keep having to negotiate with, right? It was kind of aggravating. And so what you'll eventually learn is this. In the business world, you've really got to learn how to get people on your side, on your team. Think about it as like a boxing match. You don't ever see boxers ever go into a ring, into a fight, without having people in their corner, right? They got the trainer, they got another trainer, they got their head coach, whatever, they got the water boy, they got everybody in their corner, right? So think of it like that. In business, you need people in your corner. So you need to get representation. You need to find a killer real estate broker, somebody in commercial real estate that'll represent you that's got a lot of experience. And what's beautiful about that is it doesn't cost you any money. And you're like, how's that? How is it possible that this broker can't cost me any money? He's got to make something, right? Well, you're right. But the landlord, when you sign the lease, is going to pay your agent, your broker, his share, his commission. And also the other agent as well, the other broker, okay? So usually it's about 6%, 3% on each side, just kind of like buying a house, but depending on the size of the deal, it could be more, it could be less, you just never know, but the standard is a few percent. So if you can get a really good broker to represent you, especially one with a lot of experience, you've basically got free labor, right? And then when you sign the lease, the landlord's gonna pay for that, okay? So understanding about getting people in your corner is crucial when you want to sign and negotiate a business lease, okay, for your business or whatever. Now, I also highly recommend getting your attorney involved. If you don't have an attorney, if you don't have a lawyer, you need to go hire one. And you say, well, how the heck do I do that? Okay, well, friends and family, start asking questions, start saying, who do I know that's already into business? All right, let me give them a call. Let me ask them, who do they use? Do they like that person? Do they represent them well? Do they feel comfortable? Do they charge fair rates? Do they feel like they're getting their money's worth? All those questions need to be asked. And you'd be surprised, there's enough people you probably know in your life that you can find somebody. If you're one of those people, you're like, well, I don't know really a lot of people in business. I'm the first one, in my family. I don't know really a lot of people that are involved. Most of them work for other people. That's fine too. So what you can do is you can start just like businesses do interviews, you can start interviewing attorneys. So start calling them, get online. Back in the days, we'd pull out this thing called the Yellow Pages, this big, thick book, right? You'd go to the section of the attorneys and lawyers, and you'd go down like business, and you'd find them, and you'd say, okay, there's 80 attorneys in my city. All right, let me call all of them. And you just start vetting them, and you'd be surprised after you talk to, 5 or 10 of them, you'll start getting their personalities, and you'll see who you like and who you don't like, and you can pick. And then you ask them, hey, how much do you charge per hour? The reason I like getting an attorney involved is the broker, if you've got a really good broker, they can do a lot of the legwork for you and for the attorney, and you can get things lined up. But you tell the attorney and the broker both, hey, these are my key deal points. These are the things that I need to have in my lease agreement, okay? These are my deal killers. These are the things that I absolutely cannot have happen in my lease agreement. I can't afford to have these things happen. If they happen, no deal, right? And so letting your team understanding your deal killers and the necessities that you need are important. then they know how to negotiate on your behalf. Make sure you're 100% honest. Don't downplay something. I mean, if something's not necessary and you're like, that's a deal killer, that might kill the deal for real, okay? And if it kills the deal, you're gonna look at it and say, why the heck did I do that? Well, you shouldn't have put that as one of your deal killers, okay? So be realistic. So jot all those things down. So I'll give you an example. Let's use my gold business, my We Buy Gold business. It's a perfect example. So we knew our concept when we were gonna do this, we wanted to have like sign waivers, you know, like people that hold the signs and dance and things like that. We knew that we wanted to have the ability in some of the properties to put a big inflatable balloon on the roof to get attention. We wanted that in the lease. And the big one for us was the kickout clause. This is not normal. Normally landlords do not allow you to get what's called like termination clauses because it's kind of a one-sided deal generally, right? From their perspective. It's like, look, they want to sign a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year lease. That's the goal of the landlord. They want to sign a big lease and lock you in for all that time. That's their goal. If you get a termination clause, that's huge for you. It's great for you. 2 thumbs up. It's bad for them. So this is how we did it. You're probably thinking, well, if it's bad for them, why did they ever do the deal? Well, first of all, when we got into the gold business, it was kind of like the COVID-19 situation. If you're going through that right now and you're seeing this video, you know that it's tough times, right? Businesses are going under. Even though the government's bailing out of some of the companies, some of them are going to go under, right? So a lot of these strip centers are going to get open, right? Some of these shopping centers are going to be totally vacant or halfway vacant. And so these landlords are going to start getting desperate. And so what we did was we went into the business, right? So the 2008 recession started, and we're starting to find these leases and these properties in like 2009 and 2010, still when the recession is still going. And so we would go to the landlords and say, hey, how much are you asking per square foot? And they'd give us the price. And we'd say, okay, what if we didn't negotiate your asking price and we paid you your rent? And we guaranteed you 1 year of rent, okay? 1 complete year rent. And then after that, you'd give us a 90-day termination clause. And what that means is after 90 days, if we gave you notice, within 90 days, after 90 days, we could tear the lease up and it's done, meaning we could move out, which was huge for us, right? Because we're in a business, buying and selling gold, that's based off of a commodity price, spot price, which is what gold and silver are, that fluctuate, we have no control over. So when the prices are high, a lot of people want to come in and sell us gold, right? Makes sense? And obviously our margins are higher. When the prices drop, people hold on to it. They tend to hold on to it. So less people come in, which means less profit, less revenue, all that stuff. And so the business starts kind of going downhill. Well, we need to get out of that business. We need to close those locations down. If we're not making any money, we got to get out of those businesses. And that's what we figured out. So most of our locations had these termination clauses built into them, but we had to pay a price for it. We didn't negotiate the price on. And in some cases, we actually offered more. So let's say they were asking, I'm just making an example, they were asking $18 a square foot, right? Per month, or however it breaks out. When you say $18 a square foot, it's actually, I think, built out per year, right? You divide it by 12 and that gives you your monthly rent. But whatever they're asking $18. We said, hey, we'll give you $20 per square foot. And they're like, whoa, what's the catch? We're like, well, you got it. We'll guarantee you 1 year, 1 complete year of rent on a 5-year lease, but we want a kick-out clause. We want a termination clause. They're like, well, what's that? I've never done that before. And a lot of them haven't. We said, well, we want the ability to basically cancel the lease with 90 days notice. And they're like, they kind of back off at first. We're like, well, you know, if it looks like you got like half your shopping centers vacant, we're willing to move in immediately, guarantee you 1 full year of income, and we think we're going to be in the business for 3 to 5 years or more. So it's kind of a good calculated gamble for you. You got some income coming in. We're going to pay you more than you're asking. Should help you out a little bit, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So understanding anytime you're negotiating anything in business, make sure that you negotiate looking at both sides. I always like to try to follow the golden rule, and when I'm making offers, I try to make a fair offer for both sides. So that if I was, say, the landlord, how would I feel if Bayman gave me that offer, right? I would try to look at it from that perspective. Is that even something I would accept or consider? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And then I try to turn it and I'm like, okay, so now I'm the tenant. Is this something that's fair for me as a tenant? And so on. So I do my best when I negotiate leases to get people in my corner. I do my best to make the deals fair for both sides. I mean, I'm trying to obviously get the best deal possible, but I got to make sure that it's kind of like horse trading, right? I'm trying to make sure that if I'm giving, I'm getting, you know, if I'm getting, I'm giving, right? It's kind of that deal. And your attorney and a good commercial real estate broker is going to know the basic language of those leases that needs to be in there. There's some stuff that's pretty much not negotiable. So once you get those people in your corner, once you get the deal points and the deal killers written down, And once you start negotiating, I'm confident you're going to have the good capabilities to get yourself a good business lease. Okay, everybody, I hope this was very beneficial. If it was, please like it, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And remember, in life and in business, it's never easy for anybody. That's okay. No matter how hard it gets, remember this for me. Never give up, keep pushing, and be the hustler.